Welcome to Inside New York. We are so delighted and proud to have, as we celebrate Women's History Month, a legendary civil rights icon, and she's also the president of the NAACP New York State Conference. We welcome back on Inside New York, Hazel Dukes.
Thank you
Hazel,
so much for
thank
having
you so
me.
much for coming back.
Thank you.
I mean, you know, we usually have you on when it's the time to get out the vote, but we said last time for the midterm elections that we were going to have you come on more frequently so we don't have people rushing to get information at the last minute, because we must prepare for the election 2020. And at the same time, we want to salute women, particularly African American women, during Women's History Month, and I couldn't think of a better person to have on as we continue our salutes.
Thank you very much for having me back. I had the privilege to go back to Selma to participate in the 50th March across the bridge at Selma with President Obama and Mrs. Obama, who came, and the members of Congress, black and white, came to reenact what had happened 50 years ago on that bloody Sunday.
Yes.
And there were people from all backgrounds from everywhere across America. And that was really the America that we know that people died for. Meg Evers died for the right to vote. Many, Emmett Till had been lynched in Mississippi, you know, because they said he whistled at a white woman. All of this, people tried to correct and made some progress. You can't change people's hearts, but you can change their action and mind. And what we see now, where people was in robes riding midnight, they ride daytime now with suits on.
Yes.
So it's unfortunate
Charlottesville.
that the people who died and for this right to try to make America live up to its Constitution, that we come in this century, the 21st century, with someone who is trying to turn the clock back. I think the 2020 election again, 2018 said, people said, no way are we going back. I think 2020, you will see a rise of people saying, no way, we're not going back. We want a safe, we want an environment that all people can live according to their means and where they want to live, not where you say they should live and how they should live, but they should have that right that is guaranteed under the Constitution.
Do you think that the Congress is going to be able to stop Trump with the border wall? Because he's, you know, said he wants to do it again. There is in the Constitution
that he can have an executive order.
Right.
But I think some of his own party, Republicans, is saying no to him on that issue. So it will, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it's still in process,
it's still
from
in
what
process,
I understand.
right.
There was a you know, small number that...
you know, he goes back from one thing. The last few days he's been on John McCain. Just unreal.
It's like, where is this coming from?
From what he's saying about John McCain. The man did vote for the affordable health care. He had every right to do that. He knew that he was privileged. He had cancer, but he was getting the best treatment, that all kind of experiment treatment that they had. But he knew he could get that because who he was and where he was. Why not every person, regardless of what their zip code and where they live, why can't they receive the same kind of treatment? And that was what John McCain was about. And so for him to say this was a bad man because he voted for the affordable health care, that's unreal. That's unreal.
Yeah. No, well, he's picking fights. He likes to pick fights with so many people. He's not going to pick a fight, though, with Putin.
Oh, no. No, he want to distract us at home from what we know is true about what he's done in the 2018 election.
And I can't wait for that all to be revealed, because we all know about the secret meetings that he was having with Putin,
Right.
and how he was even grabbing the notes. Nobody, I mean, who does that with a foreign adversary, you know?
That we know, yeah, right. That we
This
know.
is unbelievable
Right.
that he's doing it in plain sight. So you can imagine what he's doing behind closed doors.
When we didn't see.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you have Ivanka and Jared, who
Yeah.
are using the private, their own private servers and the private
And then he said,
emails.
lock Hillary
Right.
up. He had them chin, lock her up, lock her
Right.
up. So I wonder what we're going to do about them.
Exactly. And it's been shown that Jared was having private conversations with the Saudi Arabia's prince, and right around the time in which the journalist was killed. So, you know, there's a lot, and secret meetings.
Absolutely.
So it's very disconcerting to think that they both have security clearance, and they're doing this in private.
The intelligence community says they were not to have the security clearance.
And obviously, for obvious reasons.
Absolutely.
Because they're chatting on an open line.
But the dad said they should have it, so he gave it to them.
And he's talking about protecting America. No, we are less protected.
Absolutely.
Everything is just wide open these days.
Absolutely.
You know, what's to stop that? Anything, the continued hacking, but they now have an open line to our security.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm amazed that Americans aren't really, you know, out in the streets and really screaming about it.
They have been. I think that we haven't seen the end of protests that will be happening as we get ready for the 2020 election. I think people are going to be telling the story wide and loud to communities, waking them up. You know, the slogan is "Stay woke," and so people who it has not awakened yet, they will be, because there's going to be voices saying to them, let's do something to bring America together. You know, it's already great. He said, make it great. No, we need to, if we come together, the greatness will come out.
Absolutely. Make it great again. And I'm thinking of
that's a slogan
when
division.
Obama was here.
Right.
Yeah, let's, you know, we really do need to make
division, make America great again. He's talking about let's white supreme rule again.
Exactly.
No,
go back to
that.
KKK.
Right. No, we're not having that. We want to bring America together. Right. Not further divide us.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, I know the Women's March was trying to, I think they unveiled an agenda where their objective was to show how, I guess, everyday people, particularly women, can work with the new representatives, you know, in Congress. So that, you know, some of the concerns,
policies,
women's rights,
women's
issues.
Equality pay, there's still the equity pay. The gap is still there between men and women. And for African American women, it's even worse.
Right.
For us. And so, yes, there is a push nationally and in New York State to look at pay equity and see can we close the gap.
And Planned Parenthood.
Yes. For women, people, you don't have to, people have abortions for different reasons.
Right.
Everyone is not just about, people work hard to get pregnant. People go out and adopt children. So this whole thing about this is encouraging women to have abortion is a falsehood. That is not true. What we say when people should have control, women should have control over their body.
Right. And Planned Parenthood does not just handle abortions.
Absolutely.
It's birth control.
Training of what to do with the body.
Right.
And so
and with
we
children.
Still need that right.
Absolutely. So they are busily, closing down clinics.
Right.
And a lot of people aren't aware that as they're also pushing to get all of these people in the court system,
right.
A lot of people focus on the Supreme Court, and you were one of the ones that warned us,
Oh, yes, absolutely. You see what we've had.
Yes.
Yeah, you see what he's done.
Right. And he's brought in people
and look at the Justice Department.
Exactly.
Right. He had Session there.
Conservatives.
And the Session was a anti-everything. He got rid of him, and now he's brought another one of his bar in, whose record is not great, and so he brought him in to finish doing his underhanded, conniving work at the Justice Department. There's no justice going on in the Justice Department.
And talking about the Justice Department and getting back to white supremacy,
yes,
I believe the Justice Department recently. Well, I don't know if it's through the Justice Department or through the UN, but they pulled back on support for agencies that were fighting white nationalism. I was surprised that nobody has really been talking about that.
Well, we testified, NAACP
did you hear
testified
about that?
During the confirmation about
this is recent. Did you hear?
I didn't testify.
Oh, no.
It was our national office that take on that in Washington, D.C. We have a Washington bureau. Right. And our director, senior Vice President Hillary Shelton, testified, and letters was written from all across the country objecting to the confirmation of the last, we objected to Session because we know what he had done in Alabama, denying people the right to vote and all the other underhanded things he had done. But he was confirmed because we still have the Senate that we are not in control. And so Senate did the confirmation of Session, and they did the confirmation of Barr. And we testified against both of them that they were not capable of administrating justice to all people. They were biased. Their records show they had been biased among African American and other races that they had been, and the kind of administering of justice they would do, and that would be nothing.
Yes, but this is recent. The Republicans voted to decrease or deny funding for organizations that are fighting anti-nationalist groups and white supremacist groups. This is rather recent. I think it was just like in the last week.
I'm not surprised. I didn't read it, I didn't hear, but I'm not surprised. That's the direction that the President of the United States wants the country to go in. Deny people their rights.
But saying that, we don't need that anymore.
Absolutely.
In the midst of all that's going on, he's saying that we don't need to really be concerned.
Because he wants to continue to divide the country.
It's just, I just was floored when I saw that. I said, I can't believe
that.
Well,
what? I have got to the point. Guess to the course that every day I wake up, I'm looking for hoping that I could see a bright silver lining. But every day, if you turn on your news at 6 o'clock in the morning, the tweets he have sent out at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning while people are trying to sleep, getting ready for their next day's work or just to be alive, he has done something else that is unbecoming and not presidential.
And is not helping to bring people together.
Absolutely.
And the UN, on the heels of that also, the UN did something along the lines of not condemning Nazi
behavior,
right.
I believe, I was like, that's why I believe the former governor of South Carolina, while she was a Republican, she did have some integrity. She did believe in justice. She was the governor when we had the massive shooting at in Charleston at the church when the people was in a Bible study. She spoke out, Haley, right away against it and tried to bring people together. And I think she saw that what she thought she could do at the UN, she could not do it, and I think that's why she resigned. She was a decent person.
And look at the head of New Zealand, how quickly, you know, she is embracing that community and, you know, banning the automatic weapons. And to the point that, you know, people are voluntarily doing it.
We can't even do this in America because of him and the NRA, his supporters.
Exactly. Well, one of the more positive things that I know we want to talk about is also that they're working on HR 40, which is the reparations, that they're in the process. It seems as though they've been continuing to work on a resolution.
Yeah,
and what do you think about that?
I'm not sure that the bill that is coming on restoration is really where the real restoration will take place. The real restoration for African Americans and for people who have been denied their rights will be when policies are put in place. I still believe that every American, every person that come on these shores should have quality health care. Not some, but quality health care. I believe that every child should have a school where he and she can receive excellent education to prepare them for the 21st century. No one is going to go back and make up for all those years. So what I like to see, policy put in place to close the gap that we have now that has continued to widen.
Okay. So the NAACP is not really
We've had some thoughts on that. Yes, we still have some input in it. But our focus is that we want citizens and people who come to America to be productive citizens. And that means that you have to have the resources for the now, not the yesterday. And so we got to look at the present, where we are now, and the future for the children that is yet unborn.
Well, talking about the future, it also was in the news, particularly in New York City, that I believe is only 6 or 7 African Americans that were accepted into
Specialized high school.
Stuyvesant High
here in
School.
New York, the mayor put together an advisory board. I'm on that board that we've been looking at ways not to do away with all the tests, but to start in in elementary school and in middle school, preparing children not just for a test, but another way that they could enter into the specialized school. We have a new chancellor in the city of New York who is a Mexican by birth, understand the issue. He was in Houston, Texas before he came to New York, who understand how you can integrate all schools without busing children, that neighborhood schools can be specialized schools also. And so you need the resources to make every school an excellent school. And so we need every school to be a specialized school. We don't need just 6. Every school should be specialized for the population that lives in those communities, and parents don't want their children traveling 2 and 3 hours to get to a school. That school should stay and should be specialized.
Well, that's, you know, the hope. And the problem, though, has happened is that you do also have these other schools that, you know, are draining the funds, and the public schools aren't getting less because that money is one pot, to my surprise. I thought that was, oh, well, that's private money.
Charter schools do receive a lot of private funds, but they also receive public funds. And that's why I've been fighting. I'm saying if you want a charter school, then don't take my resources in my public building.
Right.
Let my children have their art class, let them have their music class, but when you come in and we have to divide up the space, then you take away from my public schools.
Absolutely.
And that's not fair. That is discrimination.
And that is
so
what...
we are fighting that every chance and every day that I work with educators.
Yeah, and talking about education, we cannot not talk about the college admissions.
Oh my God.
Scandal. And you know, that's a whole nother level of inequality.
We always knew, not just in college admission, when we had to bring the suit against the fire department and the police department, we'd know if your dad...
Yeah, this legacy.
We knew that happened. But now it's being uncovered not by us, but by the news media.
Thank you.
That found that these people were doing it. We already knew. Everybody who was in Yale and Harvard and MIT wasn't smart.
Well,
their granddad
look at Trump.
Went to school. Yeah, he said, don't release my grades.
Right, exactly. Right. And
I have friends who went to Walden, said this guy was not in classes. He might have taken some classes, but he didn't work for a master's degree like they had to do at this. So
and Jared also, they've exposed that,
absolutely.
How that money
We've
got
been
him
knowing this, but now
like
that the media has uncovered, we knew that everybody who went in the police department had not passed the exam. Their dad or their granddad had been in the police department, in the fire department, in the sanitation department. It went that low. For people. That's why we wasn't there.
And that's just to legacy admissions.
Absolutely.
This is taking a whole nother level.
And then we got money.
Of wealth where it's
that
not
we paid.
It's not even legacy.
Absolutely.
That they're just totally corrupting the system.
That's right. We paid.
It's unbelievable.
Right. Well, we always knew this was happening. And then when we said, give us an opportunity, they said, oh no. Affirmative action. They went to court to fight it.
They have, and I believe they won some suits too.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
Recently,
we wasn't saying let us in because we are dumb. We said give us an opportunity to show you.
Right.
Let us in. We'll show you that we are intelligent. We'll show you that we can. We had a young man. I served on UFT, the United Federation of Teachers. They give scholarships out year. One of the young persons about 12 years ago that won the a scholarship to Harvard for 2 years, he slept, he rode on the subway. He was in the shelter, and he came out to valedictorian of his class. And his admission, he filled out the application. No one in his family had ever been in a college door, and he was accepted in Harvard. They didn't know he was homeless. They didn't know he was African American. He got there on his intelligence.
But I understand that there are some universities that actually had to modify or eliminate their affirmative action programs.
Absolutely, because people brought suits.
Since Trump has been in office.
Absolutely, because the woman he appointed as Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, she began to talk about how affirmative action discriminated against others. But now, with this scandal that is out, let's see what they're going to do and what they're going to say.
So, do you think it's possible those decisions against affirmative action can be reversed?
I don't know. That's a legal question that the legal people will have to answer. And the reason Jared, on the criminal justice piece, but why Jared, that they are lauding that he was the one that made sure that this woman got out of prison, and this man that they paraded at the State of the Union this year, 2019, was out of prison because there were good mouths. Well, Jared's dad was in prison by former Governor Christie. So I guess he did have some interest in how you get out of prison, how you get back. Right?
Well, I believe it's his dad that paid, you know, a lot of money to
Right.
get him in.
Right, right.
So, you know, I don't know if that was legacy or what
I don't
it was.
know either,
But whatever it was,
right.
it didn't smell right.
Right.
let's
As my
put it that
grandmother
way.
would say, it will all come out in the wash.
Yeah, so this stuff cannot come out fast enough.
Absolutely.
Well, going back to where we were to begin, which is the 2020 election, we've got all these Democrats in the race. Are you already, you know, leaning towards anybody? What do you think?
I think it's.
What do you think
I
about
think it's a
all
good
this?
thing because each one is bringing out a different message. I think that you're not going to have 14 Democrats or 15 Democrats. It'll come down, first of all, to be in a debate on television, you must have raised so much money. The polls should see where you are. Polls don't always tell the truth, but that's what the big TV stations, NBC, ABC, Fox, they look at. How much money you've raised, where you are in the polls before you can be in a debate on stage.
Kamala Harris.
Great. Booker.
Okay.
Bene,
Well, she's the only African American woman.
yeah, she is.
Running.
And Cory Booker is a young African American male who has made history. He's been a mayor of a city, a tough city. He did some things while he was mayor, turning Newark around. I think that each one of them bring a certain, unique, just not about the color, but about their knowledge. Pamela been a great prosecutor. So each one of these people bring something that could continue to make America what the Constitution says, not individuals. We need America to come together. The division must stop. That's what we need. We cannot be petty. We cannot pit each other against one another as we've been seeing in these last 3 years.